Your Boston Bruins are headed to the Stanley Cup Final. They started preparing yesterday. You were at practice this morning, Tom Keegan, and something there prompted you to write this interesting piece about Coach Bruce Cassidy.
Well, I asked him how have you improved, and basically you could boil down his answer to he's a more secure guy now than he was when he was 37 years old, walks into a room with Jaromir Jagr there, had never really been around the NHL much at all, tiny bit with the Blackhawks as a player. He wasn't ready for it, and he got eaten up, chewed up, spit back out. Then he had to do his minor league for 8 years with the Bruins and with the Providence, and here he is back, and he's definitely ready for it.
For many people, it seems like he's had a really strange road to being a Stanley Cup Final team head coach. 8 years in Providence. How did that change him after losing the Washington Capitals job, which was a huge job for him at that time?
Yeah, if you're a driven guy, you're going to get better at what you do. And he's a driven guy, and he's a really smart guy. I think it's underrated how smart Bruce Cassidy is, because he really is a smart guy. So he got better in those 8 years, and he knew he was getting better. And when you're better, you're more confident, you're more secure, and the athletes read that from you. Athletes, if they see you're insecure, they'll walk all over you.
How has he handled the team this year? There seems to be not a big split, because it does seem like this team has come together really well and the chemistry is awesome. But you've got all these vets in their early 30s, and then you have kids in their early 20s,
right,
and they're all coming together. How much does his coaching play a factor in that locker room dynamic?
Well, I actually think that's if you have unifiers, if the coach is a unifier, if your star players like Bergeron and Chara are unifiers, I think the age split is a good thing. Their top defensive pairing that they roll out there, Chara had made his NHL debut when McAvoy was in his mother's tummy. He was 2 months from being born, something like that, 2 months I think it was. So that's a perfect example of it, and it works great.
So one of the things that he talked about, I believe, at the workout today was how he's going to rely on the guys who have been at the Stanley Cup before. Like I said, these guys like Marchand, Bergeron, who are now in their early 30s. How much can they provide in terms of, leadership and just keeping the team in the right headspace?
I think they have contributed since day one when Cassidy walked in there. They made sure it was going to be as easy a job for him as possible. And they continue to do that. And he's smart enough to rely on them because they have been there. He hasn't. They have been. So he knows to include him and to make him almost part of the coaching staff. And that's a really smart move. And listen, it's one thing if you're a leader and you claim to be a leader and you're really selfish.
And you just walk around telling everybody I'm a leader.
Yeah, like Kyrie Irving.
Anytime somebody has to say I'm the coach,
right,
you've lost the whole locker room.
And it's not that way with the Bruins because Bergeron is an unselfish guy and he's not an ego guy, a look at me guy, and Cassidy's not an ego guy at all. So that's really a formula for success, and they've pulled it off.
Yeah, after that hurricane sweep, I guess, where does Boston sit? They have to be feeling confident, but these people get nervous about these long breaks, especially in hockey.
Rightfully so.
Sitting around, trying to keep yourself mentally active and playing games with, okay, we're scrimmaging at night because that will feel like when your body's going to be playing at night, and it's like, does any of this even matter? I mean, what are we doing? Like, either you're the better team or you're not. You show up to play or not.
I guess, but you got to give yourself your best chance you can. And Cassidy protected himself when asked, is it better off that this ends in 6 games so then St. Louis would have a long layoff too? And he protected either outcome by saying,
right,
I don't have a strong opinion because, yes, that part of it's true, but the other part is they could beat each other up in the 7th game and then be weakened by that. So very
diplomatic.
Yeah, and very smart, because you don't want anyone thinking, if you say, yeah, we're hoping, and then it ends up being the other team, then, you feel like you could have had an easier road. So that's the only way to answer that question. He's pretty good at answering questions, by the way. He really is.
That's always nice in a coach,
yeah,
right?
Because if you're not, and you're paranoid as a coach,
we don't know any coaches
then
like
it's
that.
kind of fun to beat them up.
There's no coaches around here who...
Well, paranoid and unsuccessful, I should say. Okay. There is one who's paranoid and
if
freakishly
you're successful, you can do whatever you want.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's been proven.
Yeah. All right. Well, the Bruins will play Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. Again, we don't know against who yet, at least as of the taping of this video on Memorial Day. That's Monday the 27th. So, Tom, thank you so much.
Thank you, Megan.